what's up, chumps? I got some more content for you today. This is my battle against my battles against Duckymomo Senior for the semi-finals of the top-down knockdown balanced Hackmons tournament. So the way this works is every round, the top 6 most used Pokemon in that round are banned for the remainder of the tournament. So not many people signed up for this, unfortunately. There are only 16 people, so it's the semi-finals and 12 Pokemon have been banned. They are, see if I can remember them. It's Chansey, Registeel, Giratina, Rayquaza, Mewtwo, Kyogre, Xerneas, Gengar, Kartana, Solgaleo, and there's a couple of others I don't 100% remember, but important thing to note is there's a bunch of Pokemon banned. So against Duckymomo Senior, a bit of a controversial individual, I had a few good games. I thought I'd sort of share the replays with you. It's my first time doing something like this, like commentating over replays. So if this sucks, send me hate-filled emails, please. So the team I brought, I'll just go over it real quick. This is Choice Band, Tough Claws, Pheromosa with U-Turn, Close Combat, Sunsteel Strike, and I believe Mega Horn in the last slot. I didn't want Trick in case he had Scarf Imposter, because I didn't want him to trick a Scarf to my Aegislash, which is my imposter proof for this. This is just standard Illusion, Kangaskhan, Nature's Madness, Nightshade, Seismic Toss, Shore Up. I knew that was good against the sort of fat teams that he often liked to bring, like the team he did bring. This is Unaware Tyranitar with Entrainment, because he really likes Poison Heal Regigigas. So, and that turned out well. It has Lumberry rather than Safety Goggles because he likes Lovely Kiss. This is Prankster Aegislash with Stealth Rock and Destiny Bond and U-Turn, Shore Up. Scarf, Imposter Blissey, and this is a weird set. It's Normalized Entrainment Marshadow with Revelation Dance and Ghost Memory, what's it called? Multi-Attack and Shell Smash. So that gives you stab, ghost fighting coverage despite normalize, and it's still imposter proof because it's Revelation Dance's fighting type. So, and that looked really good against his team as well. So going over his team quickly, he'd used something very similar to this. Like, this is just a slight variation of a team that he used in an earlier round, so I knew a few of the sets. It's Prankster Aegislash, a Poison Heal Gyarados. I didn't know exactly what the set was before this. I didn't know much about the Slowbro. This was a Xerneas last round, but that got banned. And I don't know what the set is in that either. This is his just standard Poison Heal Regigigas, like Shift Gear, Facade, Knockoff, Lovely Kiss. And then the Dialga is Magic Bounce with Spikes and Rapid Spin. So, I decided to, let's get into the game. So I decided to lead with Pheromosa here. The nicknames on this team are Who, What, When, Where, Why, but I changed, fun fact, I changed Marshadow at the last second, so it doesn't have a nickname. This was a different Pokemon before. I forgot to give it a nickname. So only 5 of mine want a nickname, which is very annoying. That almost made me tilt in the game, but whatever. I led with Pheromosa because it just matches up well against most of his team, and I can get momentum with U-Turn. As he leads Dialga, I assumed he wouldn't stay in here, so I went for U-Turn, predicting him to go to Aegislash, which is exactly what happens, because Aegislash, I U-Turn out, and here I bring in Kangaskhan disguised as Marshadow, and so you might notice at this point that he really has nothing for Kangaskhan. It outspeeds every member of his team except Regigigas, which it speed ties with, and it just 2-hit KOs everyone, like with Nature's Madness plus Nightshade or Seismic Toss. So I knew that I wanted to take advantage of that as much as possible. I considered leading with it, actually, but I decided against that. You can see Marshall's got no nickname, which is very bothersome. Here I actually predicted him to go into his Mega Ordino here, but he didn't. He stayed in and let this take the Nature's Madness, which is understandable because it has Prankster. It can sort of heal up a lot easier, and I guess Marshall is sort of uncommon enough that he maybe didn't know quite what to do against it. It's not really a Pokemon that shows up much in high level BH because it's kind of crap. But so he goes Regigigas here. I don't know if you can hear my dog barking. I didn't want to let this take the Lovely Kiss. This is a speed tie. I could have messed around with this, but I didn't want to because this is too valuable to let it get slept. So I just went into T-Tar. I'm sorry about my dog. I think my brother's messing around with him. Anyway, I went to. Right, you can see he switches next time, but I went to T-Tar, ate the Lumberry. So here, so T-Tar can take anything from Regigigas, even like Facade does like 20% or something. T-Tar's really fat. So here I decided to go for knockoff rather than entrainment because I just sort of wanted to hide that I had that, and like there wasn't really any threat that made me like really need to go for that, like made me need to go for entrainment immediately, and I figured I could just knock off whatever came in. So he goes to I should stop doing it. He goes to Ordino here. It has no item, so I figure it's a Z crystal, probably Duckymomo for parting shot, which if I had calced this, which I didn't, but if I had calced this, I would have known that this Ordino was Fur Coat, and the fact that I didn't calc that to find out it was Fur Coat will be relevant later. So I go into Aegislash here, which was just sort of a safe play. In hindsight, I probably should have gone Kangaskhan because there wasn't much he could have done about it, and we both just trade rocks. I knew from that normally I wouldn't have just gone for rocks there, but because I knew his Dialga was Magic Bounce from watching a replay of him using this team in an earlier round, I figured it was safe to just put my rocks up there. And see parting shots out, which pretty much confirms that he's Duckymomo. And goes into Dialga. Now I knew this had spikes. I also knew that it couldn't really touch me. It's Spike, Spin, Core Enforcer, Shore Up. So I just sort of slow U-turned out of there. Went into my T-Tar, which has Rapid Spin, and just spin these hazards away. We kind of dick around a bit. He spins here as well to get the rocks off. It's about this point that I realized that his Dialga couldn't actually spin on my Aegislash, which I could have taken advantage at some point, but I didn't. Yeah, he just Core Enforces. I knock him off. I Shore Up. He spikes again. I spin. Whatever. I go Blissey here. What I was trying to do is get a spike up on him as he went for spikes, then go into Aegislash to spin block him. Just get the free spike up or whatever. He goes into his Ordino, which is fair because T-Tar can't really touch that. So here I figured he would go. I figured he had two plays here. Either he stayed in to do whatever with Ordino, or he goes back into Dialga to try and stop me from getting a spike up. Either way, Pheromosa is a safe play because I figured his Ordino wouldn't have anything to really threaten Pheromosa, so I just go hard into that as he goes into Dialga. Now, I guess it's a 50-50 here, because if I close combat as he goes into Aegislash, he has to heal up for free. But if I U-turn as he goes into Aegislash, then I get to, then I keep the momentum up. On the other hand, it's not really a 50-50 because it's immensely in my favor. Like if I get this right, I either kill Dialga or get free momentum on Aegislash. And if I get it wrong, then I don't actually lose much. So here, I got it right. I close combat as he stays in with Dialga, and that's pretty big. That, you know, means he can't get spikes up anymore, which is pretty helpful. And it also means he doesn't have anything to block Marshadow's entrainment. So at the moment I'm trying to sort of set up for a late game sweep with Marshadow, because if you notice, he really doesn't have anything for it. Like, his only way to play around it at this point is sort of shenanigans with like Lovely Kiss and maybe like, you know, Prankster Destiny Bond or whatever. But I figured I was in a good spot to win with Marshadow in the late game. So here he goes, Ordino. And so I thought he was unaware. Like, based on his team, based on the sort of, you know, Fur Coat Ordino is not very common. I figured he was unaware just because his team's a bit weak to set up with, like, you know, Prankster Aegislash being his only real answer to a lot of like random Shell Smash stuff. So I thought this was unaware, and close combat would have done about 60, and you know, I figured there wasn't much he could do back. I thought there was a chance he'd have knockoff, and if he knocked me off, that's good for me anyway, because I don't actually need the choice band for anything, and it gives me a lot more flexibility with this. Like, I could have just gone for Sunsteel Strike if he'd knocked me off. But I didn't consider that he'd be Fur Coat, and I go for close combat. It does about 30, which confirms he is Fur Coat as he parting shots out. Now, he goes into Gyarados here and activates his Toxic Orb. And I deliberated on this for a while, because there were a couple of possibilities here. Like, he might have just gone into this to activate his Toxic Orb, and he's planning on going right back out into one of his many fighting resists. Or there was a chance that he wasn't calcing and didn't know that I O-coded this. So even at -1 attack, the Pheromosa does like 99.4 to this minimum, assuming he's not plus defense, which I thought was unlikely that he'd be plus defense. So what I do, so I considered switching. I considered just staying in to close combat this on the chance he'd stay in. I went for close combat here, as he did stay in and he died. The crit didn't matter. He says something salty in the chat, but the crit didn't matter. It was a 99.4% minimum. I figured, like, even if he went into, you know, Aegislash or Slowbro, I didn't lose much, and the upside of me close combating as he stayed in was so high that, like, it was worth it, I think. So here he goes into Slowbro. I'm forced out because I am choice banned. I think possibly he didn't realize I was choice banned, I'm not sure. I go into Aegislash here just because it's safe and because I don't need it to be healthy at all. And I get my rocks up again. His Dialga is down, so he can't spin those anymore. He just scolds. I was very relieved when he went for Anchor Shot, because I considered going Blissey on that turn, which would have been bad. So here, you know, he scolds, gets the burn, I U-turn, take Rocky Helmet. Aegislash is pretty weakened now, but I don't actually need health on that for anything, so it's fine. I go into Kangaskhan here, get scolded, thankfully not burnt. And at this point, Kanga just picks up a kill. I can just click Nature's Madness here, and he has, you know, no switch into it. He goes Aegislash, which, you know, drops to 5%. He shores up. I could have just Nightshaded for the kill here. Aegislash's base HP is really low, so it would have actually died to Nightshade even after the shore up. But I was worried about him going for Destiny Bond there. So I went for shore up myself to try and play around Destiny Bond. But he went for shore up, which was, I guess that was a nice play on his part. Is at this point I realized that I just win with Marshadow. Like, if I trade Kangaskhan for Aegislash, I pretty much just win with Marshadow on the spot. So it's, at this point I realized I didn't mind if he took me out with Destiny Bond, so I just went for Nightshade. And he stayed into U-turn, I think. I'm not sure why, but that worked out for me. So he goes Regigigas. Again, I don't need to risk this at all. I just go right into T-Tar. It's completely safe. See, Lovely Kisses puts me to sleep. Here he shift gears. I sleep for a turn. I was lucky enough to get a one-turn sleep. See, that facade does nothing. I was lucky enough to get a one-turn sleep, wake up, go for entrainment. So this is getting a bit weak, and it's going to come in at 70 again after rocks. He goes slow row. I don't remember what I did. Oh yeah, that's right. I made the double back into Kangaskhan because I figured he was just switching out into. Well, I figured he was going Ordino there, but it still worked out because he went slow row. Go for Nature's Banderson, miss as he shores up. That doesn't matter a huge amount. Ultimately, I just go for it again as he scolds for a bit of damage. I think. Yeah, he scolds for a bit of damage. I go for Seismic Toss, which would have knocked out Slowbro or Tuakyoed, whatever he went into there. Here, this is a speed tie, I believe. I could have just gone into T-Tar and kept playing it safe, but I really didn't need to. Like, I think I had the game pretty much guaranteed at this point, and the only way... So I stay into Seismic Toss here, and I win the speed tie, knock this out, and he forfeits. Like, it might have been a bit risky there, but I figured like the only way that went bad for me is if he won the speed tie, went for Lovely Kiss and hit it, and that's, you know, it's only 75%, so I figured the odds were in my favor there, and as soon as I hit that Seismic Toss, I just won the game. Like, there was nothing he could do about it. So that was game one. I was pretty happy with that. Let's go into game two here. See some very different teams. I've brought I've brought a much more offensive team. This is Spike's offense. I've got Spike's Red Orb Groudon, which is a set that I like quite a lot, especially with Giratina and Zygarde gone. They've been banned from this tournament because of their usage in previous rounds. So that's Spike's Synthesis V-Create Taunt, which is it's one of the most effective Spike setters I've ever used. I think it's really good. And I've got Magic Bounce Tyranitar to imposter proof this and to check the Regigigas, which he brought again. Scarf Imposter Blissey again. Dialga is Prankster. It's a weird set. I'm not sure it's. I don't know if it was the best idea to bring that, but it's Prankster with Shore Up, Haze, Core Enforcer, U-Turn, and then these are the beneficiaries of the spikes. That it helps to wear down the sort of steel types that take on these. One of these is Specs Psychic Surge, similar to the set that Mewtwo Y runs in BH normally. The other is Sash Contrary. So what I was worried about on his team, the Zekrom I wasn't worried about, because I had, you know, Prankster Dialga, which takes on pretty much every Zekrom set, and I had Groudon, which I figured would check it, and, you know, Psychic Surge and a Sashmon. So what I wasn't too scared of this. Kanga, I was a bit worried about Kanga. You know, my team is kind of slow. I don't really have any great switch-ins to it. Like Deoxys takes like 70 from a Seismic Toss or something. It's pretty silly. And Shed, I was pretty worried about Shedinja as well, because despite being a Spikes team, this team's actually kind of iffy against Shedinja because I don't have a good switch into it. Like, I have nothing to switch into Endeavor except Blissey, and that's never a good Shedinja switch in. I have Moongeist Beam on both of these, and I have like Entrainment on Tita, so like I can play around it, but it's kind of awkward. So I knew I wanted to keep Spikes up as much as possible. Sorry, I wanted to keep Spikes up as much as possible to keep you know, to help me play around Shedinja. So I just lead with Groudon so I can get my Spikes up as quickly as possible. Whoa, what's going on here? What's going so fast? Hold on a sec. It's going really fast here for some reason. Let me change the speed. Alright. That's a bit better. Yeah, so he leads Aegislash. I figured he'd just switch out, you know, fearing powerful attacks. I have Misty Terrain on this rather than... Usually on this set I run Download, but I have Misty Terrain here because I'm running Tyranitar to Imposter Proof it rather than Giratina. And at +1, Imposter on actually does like 60 to 70 to Tita, so it was... I thought the download was a bit risky if he brought Imposter, so I decided to run Misty Terrain, which also has the benefit of kind of messing with his Poison Heal stuff that he likes to use. So he goes to hard Shedinja on the spikes, and here I was in a bit of a bind because, like I said before, I don't have a switch into it. This Groudon can't hurt Shedinja. So I realized about now that Blissey does very little against his team. He has, you know, like maybe it can check a weakened Kangaskhan or a weakened Zekrom, but it's not doing much against most of his team. So I just go hard Blissey here to sack that and get something in for free to force Shed out. He goes for Spectral Thief, that's fine. Here I make a kind of poor play. I go for U-turn, which was I should have just let Blissey die. I didn't need to U-turn out. I think that was a bit silly. But I go Dialga here as thankfully Spectral Thieves again. If he'd endeavored there, I would have been in a real pickle. So I assumed he'd just switch out here, fearing, you know, something from Dialga. And he does. He goes to Ordinate as I U-turn out. I figured either this or Aegislash was the defogger, so I wanted to make sure I kept pressure up on them to stop them from doing that. So I go Groudon here, and I just hit V-Create, because it does like obscene amounts of damage to Ordinate. And so he goes Aegislash here. That just drops to a V-Create. So sorry, I'm kind of misremembering this game. He sacks Kangaskhan there to a V-Create, which I don't know if that was the right play, honestly. Like, I guess it makes sense because I had Blissey to sack to it, but I don't know. In his situation, I would have sacked Regigigas there, but his play makes sense, I think. Here he goes Regigigas. Now the Misty Terrain's gone, so it can sleep me, and its Poison Heal is that's on now. I could have stayed in there to V-Create. It would have done a huge amount. I think it's a roll to KO after the spikes damage, but I didn't want to get Lovely Kiss because I wanted to be able to, you know, keep putting spikes up. He goes for Facade, which does nothing, clearly. I'm Magic Bounce, so I didn't feel Lovely Kiss at all. And I believe I just U-turned out here, because I didn't want... Oh no, I doubled out, in fact. I don't think I have U-turn on that. I'm running like a weird set with Pursuit, I think. But I doubled out into Deoxys to keep the pressure up on Ordinate. And I just go for Psychic Surge here, because even Aegislash doesn't want to switch into that. And like if Aegislash comes in, it's forced to... Like, it takes like 55, 60 or something, then it's forced to recover, which means I get momentum as I switch out. And this means that Ordinary keeps taking damage, like coming into this spike. Like, yeah, if I can keep, you know, making sure that Ordinary doesn't get a turn to recover, then I can... You know, that makes it a lot easier to keep this spike up to stop Shedinja from messing with me. So he goes Aegislash as I Psycho Boost, does a bunch of damage, does 55, which is absurd damage. Psychic Terrain's a pretty wacky ability. I go Groudon as he goes for Shore Up. Now, this was an interesting turn for me. He goes for Destiny Bond here. I go for... I'll just play the turn. He goes for Destiny Bond. I go for V-Create. I figured he would do that. I thought that was likely. At the time, I was like fine with that trade. I thought you know, sacking Groudon for Aegislash was in my favor, because that meant that my Specs Deoxys didn't have a switch in. In hindsight, it might have been good of me to keep Groudon to get the spike up again, because now if he's able to defog, I can't get hazards up, which means I'm reliant on kind of you know, iffy stuff like Moongeist Beam and whatever to deal with Shed, which is, you know, it's unfortunate. You can see it's going to matter later. So I trade Groudon for Aegislash. And here, what did I go? I go to, this is the Specs one again. He goes Regigigas. I just go for Psy Strike. That was a guaranteed kill, I believe. He didn't have a switch into that. And now the terrain runs out. He goes Mega Ordinary. what I do here is I just I go for Side Strike. Outside of terrain, it doesn't kill, and he defogs the spike away, meaning that Shed can come in safely. I don't know if that was the right play in hindsight. I'm not sure what I could have done differently, but letting him defog the spike was maybe not the best option. It might have been good for me to not go to Deoxys on his it might have been good for me to not go to Deoxys on the double down so that he couldn't do this, but I don't know. Anyway, he lets me just kill this with another Side Strike, and then goes into Zekrom. Now I figured that Zekrom would most likely be the Shell Smash Galvanize set. That's usually Shell Smash, Boom Burst, Extreme Speed, Judgment. Now I had, and that is what it is. I just click Side Strike to get a bunch of damage off on it as she Shell Smashes. Now what you're going to see here is possibly the worst sequence of plays in balanced Hackmons history. At this point, I should note my internet was cutting out a lot. We had a storm going past, damaging wires. I guess I don't know how this kind of stuff works, but my internet was cutting in and out. So I was trying to focus on this game while also trying to keep my laptop connected to the internet. So yeah, I'm just making excuses at this point. I played very poorly over the next couple turns, as you'll see. So mistake number one, I sacked Deoxys here. Now I figured I didn't need it, but what I didn't consider was the value of having Psychic Terrain up, because Psychic Terrain meant that his Shed wasn't a threat to my other Deoxys, the contrary one with Moongeist Beam, and that will come into play later. So next what I do is I go into Tita, and the reason I did this is because I was mixed up with my Tita from the last game, which was unaware and would have lived this hit. This Tita has Magic Bounce and does not live this hit, so I just drop to a second Boom Burst, and then, oh god, I'm feeling bad just watching this. Now here, this is pretty much unforgivable. I go into Dialga rather than hazing. I just I click Core Enforcer and I die to a Judgment. Now the reason for this, here's the excuse I'm going to give, is that the Showdown damage calc doesn't calculate the Galvanize boost on Judgment. So the way that Galvanize works with Judgment is Galvanize gives Judgment the 1.2 times boost and turns it electric type, then Judgment changes its own type according to the plate. So even though Galvanize doesn't make Judgment into an electric type move, it still gives it a 1.2 times boost. And this is, now that's how it works on Showdown, but the Showdown damage calculator does not apply that 1.2 times boost. And I forgot about that. I knew that was the case, but I forgot about it when I was calcing Judgment. And so I thought I lived that, but I didn't. And I died to Judgment, and at this point I had lost the game. The reason I went for Core Enforcer rather than Haze, by the way, it was because I was concerned that if I spent time dicking around with Haze and Shore Up trying to get healthy, he could have gone into Shedinja on a turn that I either hazed or shored up, and he would have gotten a kill with that, which I think was, that was a fair thing to be concerned about, but I wouldn't have even been in this issue if I hadn't sacked T-Tar and Deoxys unnecessarily. So I sacked that, then at this point I've realized that I fucked up. So in desperation I go Blissey and hope for a crit, and I do get a crit, but it doesn't kill. And I've just lost now. I go Deoxys, I take a hit, go to Sash, knock it out with Moongeist, and then I die to Shedinja's Extreme Speed. So the play I had, the play that I should have made, let me go back to, so the play I should have made on this turn. Blissey's a 1%, it didn't do anything, I had no reason to keep it. Sacking 3 Mons before going Blissey was a bizarre play that I don't know why I did that. I wasn't thinking. So what I should have done here, I should have sacked Blissey, then gone back into this Deoxys, the Psychic Surge one, to set up Psychic Terrain, then sacked this, and then I could have gone to the contrary Deoxys, the Moongeist Beam, and just clicked Moongeist Beam twice, killed both of these. And that was completely foolproof. There is, that sequence of plays would never have lost me the game. I don't think there was a way for me to lose if I had done that. But I instead, fucked around with T-Tar and Dialga and sacked half my team for no reason, and that was just a mess. I think I had a good team matchup, and I squandered it by just not thinking about my plays in the end game and messing up with the calc and forgetting my own sets and whatever. That was pretty shameful. All right, time for game 3. So here I've brought a Shedinja team, and I was considering bringing Shedinja more in this series, because Shedinja is very good in this metagame with Giratina and Gengar, both banned from previous rounds. This makes it a lot easier for it to spam Endeavor. So this is just Shedinja offense. I brought this is Specs. This is sort of a similar dual Psychic Core to the last time. This is, it's Specs, Psychic Surge, Deoxys attack. This is Contrary Mega Latios rather than Contrary Deoxys A. I just thought it fit better on this team. I've got Magic Bounce, Mega T-Tar, and Defog, Flashfire, Duskmane, Necrozma as my sort of anti-hazard core to support Shedinja, and Imposter, Blissey again, because I think it's good against a lot of the teams he likes to bring. Not the ones he brought this series, but teams that he sort of generally brings. And it also it's important to have with Shedinja just the scout sets. So let's get into it. I don't remember what I led in this game. He leads Dialga. Yeah, that's right. So I lead the Spec Psychic Surge Deoxys here and just Volt Switch out on the Dialga. I don't really need to sort of mess around with this. Going to this again, I will point out again, this whole team was supposed to be nicknamed Harmony, but I changed this the Deoxys and the Latios the last minute, so neither of them have the nickname, which is annoying. I go to this because I know it can just defog on Dialga pretty safely. He goes out into Aegislash, which is, whatever. Like, he's just gonna slow U-turn here, I think. I U-turn out into, I don't remember what, into T-Tar, that's right. Then he U-turns out, standard BH stuff. Here he goes Mega Gara, activates the Toxic Orb. And now I'm a bit concerned, because I didn't know what this set was. I hadn't seen it before. You might remember it got OHKO'd by Pheromosa in the first game. So what I was concerned about is that if it was the standard Poison Heal Mega Gyarados set, which is Shift Gear, Knockoff, Crab Hammer, and a filler move, either Will-O-Wisp or Lovely Kiss usually, I actually have nothing for it. Like, that just beats the whole team, and there's really not much I can do about it. So I was very concerned about it being that set. Turns out he's not that set. He's actually, I didn't know it at the time. Well, I didn't know it until later this game, but he's Sunsteel Strike, Power Trip, Coil, Lovely Kiss, which is a bit different, but I'm very glad that he's that set, because the fact that it doesn't boost its speed means that I can check it with Mega Latios and Deoxys. The fact that it doesn't have Crab Hammer means you can't hurt T-Tar as much, and the fact that it has Power Trip rather than Knockoff means that it doesn't immediately threaten my team with dark moves as much, which is good to keep in mind. I had to sort of... It is still a big threat to my team, but possible for me to play around, unlike the other set, which almost would have just won turn 1. So here he Lovely Kisses, it bounces back. He didn't know I was Magic Bounce apparently, and I just Entrainment it to get damage on it. I was surprised he went for Lovely Kiss there rather than just a Shift Gear or a Crab Hammer, because either of them was very safe, I felt. because that was the first thing that kind of clued me into him maybe being a different set. So I U-turn out here predicting a switch, so he goes Ordino, which is fine. He makes a comment about my T-Tar set in the chat. He says it's weird, but you know, whatever. I go Necrozma here. That threatens him out with Sunsteel. I U-turn again, keeping up the momentum. Believe I go back into T-Tar here, yeah. And here I tried to predict him staying in, predicting my U-turn, but I got that wrong. He just goes back into Ordino, which is fine. Because again, this isn't really a huge threat to my team. I knock off again there. I don't entirely remember why I did that. I thought there was a chance he might, like... Because this is like Parting Shot, Stealth Rock, so I figured like either of those was pretty safe for me. He goes for Core Enforcer, which is a bit annoying. Because that means he can get up rocks. So I U-turn out into this so I can defog them away and threaten him out. That's what I do. Defog on the Parting Shot. Now he goes Gyarados here, and I'm really concerned about this Gyarados. I'm worried, you know, if he just gets up a shift here, I might just lose the game on the spot. So I go out into Blissey to scout the set, just so I know sort of what I'm dealing with. And I see this set that I told you before, Coil, Sunsteel Strike, Power Trip, Lovely Kiss, and I breathe a sigh of relief, realizing that I can actually take it on with T-Tar. I don't remember what. Yeah, I go hard into T-Tar, predicting the Lovely Kiss, which is what happens. And I calced this. Unboosted Sunsteel Strike does about 40, which means that the +1, yeah, does about 65. And I'm able to Entrainment, give it Magic Bounce. And so I knew sort of what I had to do was keep T-Tar healthy, make sure to not sort of let this come in for free and heal up, so that I could just wear it down over the course of the game, get it into, you know, range where I can revenge kill it with Latios or Deoxys if need be. So I Entrainment here. I figured he'd want to keep this healthy, so I made the risky play of U-turning out here, which... Oh, no, sorry, misremembering. I think I do that later in the game. I make the switch into Necrozma here because that covers either of his likely plays of Sunstealing again or going into Ordino. So I get that right. I get this in for free, and I believe I just U-turn here. Yep, on the Aegislash. Now here, I go into T-Tar. I predicted him to U-turn here, predicting me to recover. And, like, knowing that if I got this low, Shedinja would be able to put in a ton of work, I decided it was worth the risk and just went for knockoff, which almost knocked him out. Kind of annoying that it didn't. I think it's a roll, but that's whatever, I'm not complaining. And he just U-turns out into Mega Slowbro. Now, I know this has Skull, now it has Rocky Helmet, I don't want to stay in here. I just go out into Latios because I felt it was pretty safe. I figured he was just Scalding. I get burnt, which is a little bit annoying. Now the set here, I will just, it is a bit unconventional, and there is another reason that burn is annoying. The set is Draco Meteor, Psycho Boost, V-Create, and Endure with Custat Berry. This is a tech that I've used a few times. It's just really nice as like an offensive check to sort of a variety of setup sweepers. You can catch them off guard with, you know, Endure, and then get the Custat Berry boost, knock them out. Especially if they're at like -1 from a Shell Smash or whatever. It also lets it situationally beat Imposter, because at +2 you knock them out with Draco Meteor. So that's the reason I have that, and that's the reason that Scald is annoying, because it means if I Endure, get knocked down to 1 HP, it doesn't work, so I'd out of burn. But that's alright. Here, I just click Draco Meteor. Like, it's pretty much completely safe. I considered Psycho Boosting to maybe hit Ordino coming in, but I figured he wouldn't do that. Like, I thought his play here might have actually just been to sack Slowbro, because I don't do much against my team. But I go for Draco. He goes Dialga, and unfortunately I miss. Getting the boost there would have meant that I could have knocked out Dialga with another one. And like, I might have just won the game on the spot if I could play around Aegislash's Prankster Destiny Bond. Because like, at +2 or at +3, I outspeed and 1/8 KO the entire team. So it's a little bit unfortunate that I missed that. I was a bit upset about that when it happened, but sorry, my dog wanted to come in. I was a little bit upset about that when it happened, but I think, you know, it turned out alright. So I switched out here fearing the Core Enforcer, just into this. You know, I'm not sure why I'm not sure why I went for Shore Up there. I think I didn't want to switch out, and I didn't want to waste Sunsteel Strike PP, so I just stayed in and went for the other move. Here I go for Sunsteel rather than Defog. I think that was, like, I'm not. The reason I went for that is in case Aegislash came in. I was trying not to like, I didn't want to let that heal up so that it could, you know, come in and annoy my my Deoxys and my Shedinja. So I was trying to catch him, you know, going into Aegislash on the Defog to heal, but that's not what he did. He went to Gyarados, which is annoying. But what did I do here? Yeah, I stayed into Defog, predicting him not to Lovely Kiss, and now I'm in a bit of an awkward situation because my Tita, you can see, is at 40%, and you know, the rest of my team can't do much to it. So I was kind of floundering here. I wasn't sure what to do. I thought I might have to, like, sack something, like go to Latios, drop a Draco on it, sack that, then go Deoxys and Volt Switch or whatever, which would have been annoying. But here he Lovely Kisses. I have Lumberry on this as well, just for, so like, I know he likes Lovely Kiss. You turn out, and I go into Deoxys to go for Volt Switch, which only 2 KOs at this point. It does like 50 to 55, I think. Mega Gyara is very good special defense. Something I did consider here is, based on the first game, I don't think he was calcing at all. So he might have assumed that this Volt Switch killed. Whatever it was, he switches out here into Dialga, which was excellent for me. I was very happy about that. And that was an opportunity to go into Shedinja, which you might notice his Aegislash is at 5%, and I thought this was in range of a U-turn. You'll see later it's actually not. But in any case, I got Shedinja in for free on Dialga, which gives me an opportunity to just click Endeavor. He has Rocky Helmet on this Slowbro. He was trying to take me out with the Rocky Helmet there, I think. But I have Protective Pads, which is a very fun little tech to beat not only Rocky Helmet, but also, you know, Spiky Shield and Baneful Bunker and similar nonsense. And so I Endeavor, then take him out with U-turn. U-turn, yeah. Then I go Tita, I get Lefty's Recovery. So he goes Gyarados. Now, what do I do here? I'm still terrified of this Gyarados. Like I still recognize I don't really have a good way to deal with it. So I risk letting Tita die there to get the entrainment off, to stop it from healing up. Go out into Necrozma, which covers either of the likely players I thought, which was, again, Sunsteel or Ordino. So I get Necrozma in on the Sunsteel. He takes more damage. I go for U-turn here, predicting him to switch. He goes Dialga. Oh no, I don't go for U-turn. Oh, sorry, sorry. I I don't remember this game as well. I go to Tita because I figured his likely plays were either Power Trip, Lovely Kiss, or a Switch, and Tita covers all of them because it gets to heal up now. But I didn't heal up. I went for U-turn again, trying try not to let Gyarados heal up there. I think because what I was concerned about was him going Gyara on the shore up, then switching out again, and just sort of doing that a bunch to get it back up to full health, which would have been annoying. And the U-turn also covered the potential of him going for Stealth Rock, so I could just go into this and defog it if he tried to get them up or whatever. I U-turn again. Again, I think that was trying to catch Aegislash or Gyara, stop him from doing that. It also covered the Spikes play, so I could do this, force him to Rapid Spin. And what I do here is I go oh no, I don't. I just go for knockoff here, get rid of the leftovers, force him to recover. Just knock again. We kind of dick around like this for a while. Here I knock off. He core enforces me. I U-turn out into Shedinja here as he goes for a spike and get more recovery, or sorry, get more momentum. He goes into Aegislash here. I kind of bummed about that U-turn not killing. I think that is a roll, but that's whatever. So Aegislash lives at 1 HP, which is really annoying because it has Prankster and Shore Up and Destiny Bond, which means 1 HP is a lot healthier than it might otherwise seem. So I go into Latios here, and here I predicted him to Destiny Bond to try and trade, and so I go for Endure because in this generation Destiny Bond, like it doesn't work twice in a row. So if he went for Destiny Bond here and I endured, then I could just V-create, get a kill, and then maybe get some more kills later. Who knows? But that's not how it happened. He goes hard into Ordino, which makes sense for him. He possibly still doesn't know that I'm contrary, because like this used to run a set with like Tinted Lens, Draco Meteor last generation, so he might have thought I was running something like that. But yeah, Psycho Boost probably should have tipped him off, and obviously the boost from Parting Shot. Missing that Psycho Boost and Ordino again, really annoying. If I'd gotten the boosts, I would have been at +3 special attack now, which would have been great, but oh well, it was not to be. Here he goes Regigigas. A Draco Meteor here wouldn't have killed, but it would have done like 90%, and I was willing to sack Latios here to get that damage off, because I figured at this point it wasn't sweeping. But he was just trying to get the Toxic Orb activated. It goes back into Ordino on the Draco. It was very close to Psycho boosting there, but I didn't want to risk him getting Gyara in. Here I Psycho Boost, see how much damage it does. It's, you know, would have been nice to hit, but oh well. He goes for Core Enforcer, gets a crit, knocks me out. So that was... It is a bit unfortunate that Latios didn't get to do anything because it missed 2 attacks and got crit and got Skull burnt, but whatever. That's just how it goes sometimes. I go into Deoxys, which forces him out, gets me some momentum. I Volt Switch, it knocks him out. I did calc that to make sure that Volt Switch would knock him out. So I go into Necrozma here. I'm not sure that was the best play. Like I wanted to defog, but in hindsight he could have gone Gyara there, and that would have been pretty annoying because Tita is pretty weakened right now. And with Lovely Kiss he could have stopped me from defogging. But sorry about that noise, by the way, if you could hear that. That's it's a reminder I have on my laptop. Anyway, he goes Gigas, which is good for me because Tita takes that on very easily. He just Lovely Kisses, it bounces. if he'd facaded there, it could have been a bit dangerous, because that was a roll. There would have been a roll to Twig here, but thankfully he lovely kisses. I mean, I just entrainment there because it just felt like the safe play. As he goes Dialga, this is an opportunity for me to heal up. Finally, I've been sort of not healing this a lot, sort of making some risky plays, but I decided to go for the heal this time. Here I just U-turn into Necrozma, I believe, just to get rid of this spike as he core enforces. I know I'm out of range of a second core enforcer, so I defog again. I defog again, he core enforces, I'm at 1 HP, but I knew that he wouldn't kill me there. I calced that. And I just shore up. I don't really need HP on this at all, so I just U-turn out. I U-turn out into Tita, as I believe he goes for another spike, yep. And here I go, this turn, yeah, I go hard into Shed here to spin block. Now this is really important this turn, having this one spike up, we'll see later. Not only because it means that Aegislash can't switch in anymore. So Aegislash dies to the spike. But it also means that his two poison healers don't heal on the turn that they switch in. And you'll see that will matter a bit later in the game. So here he goes for a spike as I just endeavor, knowing that, you know, Aegislash can't switch into it, and both of these die to endeavor plus E-speed. So I just take that out with endeavor, E-speed. He goes Gyarados here. Now, I considered this a bit. So at this point, Entrainment Tita pretty much won the game. The combination of Tita and Deoxys pretty much won the game here. I felt like Shedinja was a bit superfluous, so I just go for U-turn here, like sacking Shedinja, because I didn't want to switch Tita and potentially get 2-KO'd by Sunsteel Strike after the spike, and I didn't really have anything else to do here, so I just sack Shedinja to U-turn. I could have E-speeded just to get a bit of damage, but in case he didn't go for Coil, in case he didn't go for Sunsteel rather, U-turn was way stronger. So he just Sunsteals, Shedinja dies. And now I go into Deoxys, threaten him out with the Volt Switch, the sacks Aegislash to the spike, which is good. And now he goes Regigigas. I'm locked into Volt Switch, but that's fine. I just Volt out into Tita, and he facades, I entrainment, and then I just spam shore up until this dies. And spoilers, yeah, I spam shore up a bunch. He shift gears again, but it doesn't matter. I just spam shore up, and then he goes Gara, and I entrainment this, and it just dies to its own poison, and that's the end of the game, and that's the end of the series. So this here, this end game with Tita against the two poison heals, this is the reason that the spike is important. Because if I didn't have that spike down, what he could have done is, like, by forcing me to recover, he could have switched back and forth between Gara and Regigigas to like heal them up on the turns that I had to recover. And like by doing so, I think he could have potentially stalled out my Tita. But the fact that the spike was there meant that these don't heal up on the turn that they switch in, which meant that wasn't a possibility. So I ended up winning that game, despite the hacks on my Latios, despite this this terrifying Gyarados set. I think I played pretty well not to lose to that. So yeah, that's the series. I won 2-1. I'm pretty happy with the way I played overall, except the end game of that second game, which I think I played really abhorrently. But yeah, so I go into the finals of this tour against Scarf Wynaut, who won against Pikachu. I'm not entirely sure when I'm going to upload this video, because I don't actually have internet at the moment, because of a storm that went by recently, which damaged a bunch of stuff. So I'm not connected to the internet right now. I I literally I went to the local library to use the library internet to open these replays so that I could record this. But yeah, we'll see. This is gonna go up whenever I get internet again, I guess. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully I'll be able to bring you my next game in this tournament against Scuff Why Not whenever that happens. And I'm planning on doing some showdown lives, I guess. There's a bunch of other meta games ladders that went up this month that I'm interested in playing. There's Stabmons and Mediocre Mons and Gen 4 balanced Hackmons as well, which is pretty cool. So I guess I'll see you all whenever.